Welcome to our grid tutorial. Today we're wrapping up grid. Hopefully we'll finalize grid today. So what are we going to talk about today? We want to talk about grid, or what is it called, how you can make it to be mobile responsive, okay, using media query. For example, look at all our work, what we did so far. If I am to reduce this, and then let's say I want to start from this and then start reducing it, this way is happening, this way is happening. So it's still remaining 1, 2, 3, you know. So if I keep reducing it, if my file keeps using it, you find that you start cutting, right? But I want it to be mobile responsive, because these days most people who went online use their mobile phone. So how do we make this to be mobile responsive? I can, instead of this, it can just be normal for any kind of phone. So without much ado, let's go back to our grid.css, and right there I come over and put at media query. Of course, you know all of this, we did this before. At media, then let's say anything below from say 450, okay. So open your bracket, not a code browser, open a bracket, and let me open the bracket. So at media, and I open a bracket, then mass width, let's use mass width, okay. But of course can use minimum width, min width, so anyone you like, but as for me I want to use mass width, okay. And the mass width, let's say anything like 450 pixels, below 450 pixels, okay, maximum of 450 pixels done. Then this rule we apply, okay. So I now put my code browser, bring it down, and then grid column, because I want to use grid columns, okay. But it doesn't mean that you can only use grid. You can use grid rows, can use, or you can use any of them just to reduce it depending on the one you use, okay. So let's make it 1FR. So depending on what you want to resize, will depend on what any type that you want to apply, okay. But they all will work. Okay, so Ctrl S for save. Both will work, so you don't need to worry that way because I used that didn't work. No, both of them will work. So let's minimize our work, and then we'll try to reduce it again. So if I'm to reduce it, because my system doesn't allow this, but if I go to web developer 2 to reduce it and choose mobile, find that instead of him line up in 3 places, we line up in 1 places. It line up in 1 places straight away. So this way is going to, if you want to bring it down as we are reducing it, it will turn, once it get to mobile phone area, it will now turn to just one straight line, okay, just 1FR, just straight like that, okay. If it didn't work on your laptop, it's very simple. Just go to developer 2 and then use mobile responsiveness for it, and then you now select, we learned this before now, you select the kind of phone you want to use, whether it's iPhone or any phone, and immediately it will turn straight away 111, okay. So we don't have to waste our time on this because we go through it before now. But this is not the only thing you can do as far as media query or mobile responsiveness is concerned. And also come over here, let's go to our height. I will give it a height, and we'll do it to repeat grid template row. Let's cancel row first, okay. Cancel, leave the row. Let's come over to, let me remove the row first so I can look at what we are doing right now, okay. Ctrl S for save. So if you come over to the column aspect of it, if you check, I put it 1FR, right. I just come over it and use repeat, okay. So let's use repeat. Repeat, since it's the same thing, 3 columns, comma 1FR, yeah. So what if the situation, instead of it to just turn to just 1 column, like when I use media query, I actually make it that even if as you are reducing it, instead of it to turn to 1 column immediately, you start with 2, from 2 to 1. Then we expand, it can also go as long as 4. That's what I want to show you. So to achieve that, what you want to do is you come over here and you use auto fill, okay, auto dash fill, okay. Then for it to work effectively, we remove our 1FR, then you make use of mouse width, okay, min mouse, okay. And we'll now give him, let's give him 200 pieces. Let's give him 200 pieces. Give him 200 pieces. And the other one should be 1FR. So that way it will start reducing. If it gets to 200 pieces, then it will now turn to 1FR, which is the normal column that you use on your stuff before now, okay. So all these methods are there for you to make use of, utilize them, see if it works, and of course it will work, okay. So when you reduce, my laptop has some issue right now, but if you reduce up to this 3, you should keep on reducing it to get to a stage where it will now turn to 2FR, reduce again, it turn to 1. Okay, so that's how you can also accomplish that using this method. So this is all you need to know about making your mobile responsive. You can also still do the same thing, like if you have rows and columns, you can also apply same rule to columns, apply it to rows. The ones that you want to reduce, so I can be exactly the same size with your mobile phone, or whenever you want to use mobile, make sure that you reduce them through media query. Of course, we've done media query before now, so you know everything about media query. So that much, let's go to the next one. This one now will be the final project we want to create. Remember, when we did Flexbox, we create holy grail layout. Now I want to mimic something like holy grail layout, okay, using grid. How simple it is. Watch out. Let's go there straight up. So for us to do that, we have to create another file. So I'll come over straight to my file and add more file to this, okay, because we're not going to use this index.html for this. So I'll create a file and let me name it grid2.html. I'll bring it down. I'll create another file again and name it grid2.css. grid2.css. So we've gotten grid2.html, grid2.css. So without wasting time, let's start with grid2.html. And we want to bring out your normal website HTML skeleton, okay. Sorry, I put it in the wrong way. Let's come over here. So I come to it and then grid.html. I know they're putting numbers already. I don't have any other grid there. They don't have it in there.html. So I use my as normal. Let's bring our HTML skeleton, and here let's say grid final project, or let's just write it grid project, okay, grid project. Then I also have to go and create my CSS, so it will have its own CSS as well. So I'll come over here and click on it too, then use grid low, okay. You can put anything, okay. Let me use grid 3, okay, grid3.css, grid3.css, okay. So I can work with CSS. So let's clean up this so I can go to the one we're going to work with right now. So I'll open my grid.html, open it with Lifesaver, so that those things can go up. Yeah, it's clear now. Then I go to my grid.css, so I won't see anything there. Nothing should be there, of course. Grid.css. So everything is completely empty. You can see it. Let's now go back to our HTML and start up the work, okay. So under grid.html, let's link it up, okay. So I have my style sheet, so let's link our CSS, should be grid 3.css. Press for save. So right there on the body, what I want to create now is just your normal website skeleton, okay? Just your website, your header, your sidebar, your main bar, your navigation menu, then your footer, just a complete website, okay? So it's not left for you to now start putting things that you want to put on the website, okay? Also do this way. Instead of writing header, you put the title of your website. Then under the navigation menu, put like home page, about page, and stuff like that. Then under your sidebar, you put any ads that you like, your maybe social media handle, like your Facebook, your Instagram, and stuff like that, okay? So that's just what we want to create right now. I want to create a skeleton of your website. So that much, let's start with the first one, which is the header. So I'll start with the header, and I will still name it header, okay? Header. Then I go to the second one. Let's say that one should now be the nav bar, so call it nav, okay? And I will name it navigation bar, navigation, okay? Or it can still be nav, let's see, name it nav, so I have to avoid writing much things. Then I go to the next one, which is a sidebar, and I will name it sidebar, okay? Sidebar. And then before sidebar, we're supposed to have the main, right? So sorry for that. Let's go to main. Let's write the main, which is your main, and there, that's where all the content will be. So I write it content, maybe what you are selling or anything you are doing, Then the last one now is footer, right? Exactly how website is. When you come to a website, what you see on the website at a glance, okay? And I'll name it footer, okay? So we've created, let's see, press for save, if it will appear, and once it appears, go straight to our grid.css and continue, okay? So we have our header, we have our content, main header, and the rest of them. Header is header, nav bar, content bar, sidebar, then footer. Footer went to replace itself. I didn't supposed to pick it from there, so let me write it very well. Footer. Let me just clear this. Footer bar, and I will name it footer. That's all. Name it footer. So let's come to our grid.css tree, which is where our CSS lies. We start with universal selector, so we can be able to remove all the padding and the rest of them that was put there. Open your code brain, so I bring it down. Boss sizing should be border boss, okay? Boss sizing, let be border boss. Then padding 0, margin 0 as usual. Padding 0. The margin as well should be 0, okay? Margin 0. So we've removed everything that is there before now. So let's come to the body. Let's give him a font. Let's give body a font family. Let it be Times New Roman. I like sans serif, okay? I can see sans serif here. Okay, let me put this area and go as sans serif, okay? So let's have a font size of say 18 pixels. Then let's have the height. So I would like it to cover the whole space. So I give him 100% viewport, okay? 100 VH. So I actually like it to cover the whole place, okay? Then should I add background to this? Any of adding background? Okay, let me just give me a background. Give me a background color of let me give him aquamarine. Authorize for save. Okay, so everything is working perfectly well. We still have to go down a bit. Let's now target our the header, the navbar, the content, the sidebar, and the footer. Remember, all these are not part of what we want to do, but it's just part of how you design your CSS. So you just kind of remembering, refreshing your memory for what we did before now. Okay, in case you forgot any of this, go back to our HTML and our CSS classes. You remember all of this. Okay, so I start with the first one, which is header. Then the other one is a navbar. Hope I'm not making mistakes, so it will fly. If I make any mistake, it will go. Navbar. Then we also have main. And we also have sidebar, which is our side. So have our side. And we did header, navbar, main, aside. Navbar is nav, sorry, we didn't use navbar, use nav, it's nav, aside, and lastly footer, if I'm not wrong, I think footer. Okay, so one to actually, this is what called grouping selection, okay, group selector. So want to group this and then give them something great. Okay, so let's start with the fonts. Let's make it the font size. Let's make it 16 pieces. Then let's make it let's add color. Let's make it white. Color should be white. Then let's add background color to them, as well as margin and padding. Background color, let's add it let's add good. It'll be good. Then let's give him a padding. Say for padding of 18 pieces. So you can try to give as many as you want to. Okay, anything you want to give, you can try to give. Okay, so everything is going on smoothly, but don't forget to always put your comma. Okay, header comma, nav comma, and the rest of them, don't always forget to put comma. Okay, to differentiate them. And the last one, you're not going to put anything like comma again, like the footer. So what I just added is your font size, color, background, padding. Okay, let me still add the border, so that can be, the border will go a long way. Let me add the border. Let me make it 5 pieces. Solid. I want a color that will be something similar to this. Okay, I think green can go, or even gray can go. I'm not good in color, but if you know the one that can go, just choose the right color for yourself. Okay, Ctrl S for save. Yeah, this one is exactly what I want. So we are through with this. Let's now go and apply the grid aspect of it. Now remember, all these are not part of grid. Okay, so I want to use the body as my grid area to do all the work today. And there's what to call grid area. Okay, grid area has to do with, maybe you have more than 2, 3, 4 items that you want to bring together and then give them a size, or let's work it out. I'm working if you understand it. But you can also read out grid areas from your MTM doc. You go to Google it out and read more about grid area, because we're going to make use of grid area right now. So firstly, let's do the first thing first, which is display grid. So I'm going to display grid. Ctrl S for save. You notice what happened? Remember before now, if you click on display grid, nothing happens. But when I click on display grid, the whole space is taken over. Yeah, it's because of this height. Remember the height we did, which is 100 VH. Actually want the viewport to cover the whole page, right? So that's why it has to work like that. So we'll come over and start with grid template. Remember, before now we use grid template rows, grid template columns, right? But now I want to start with grid template area. Okay, that's what I'm going to make use of right now. No more rows and column, but grid template area. So here we have column, I'll change it to area or areas. Grid template areas. Okay, don't forget the wordings, everything must be okay. Now before now, when we do this, next is to come by and give it a height, maybe 1 FR or percentage or in pixels, right? But for this you don't do it this way. So what do? You bring your mouse down, and then we start up with the first one. Okay, start with the first one. Okay, so we start with the first one. You know, I place it side by side. I'll be using this one after the other, from header to navbar and the rest of them. So I'll start with the first one, which is header. So I'll type header, and mind you, you can use any name. Okay, just that I just want to be, you know, use the same name that I use, so I can have the same pattern. I can actually use any name. I'll repeat it again, header, and I'll repeat it the third time, header. Okay, so before that, there's a mistake I'm making, sorry. You must always put your quotation mark. Okay, just one like this, just one. Okay, so go to the next one, also do the same thing, then in between I'll put, next one is what now? We have our nav bar, we have our main, and we have our sidebar. Okay, so I'll put it there, nav, put the content, and I put the sidebar. So like I told you, I can use any of this, any name, but I decide to use this. Okay, then after that I'll go to the other one, which is the last one round. We have nav again. There's a reason why you have nav 2 times. Then we have our footer. Later we'll explain to you. Have I done the first thing that I need to do? I don't want to forget it, so I can still do it later, but let's do it so you get it very well. Okay, first of all, the quotation mark before you start writing. Okay, nav. So we'll now do footer. Okay, footer and footer. Yeah, press for save. You see, it didn't do much work, but it did something. It's still not taking a shape. Okay, so these are navbar, these are footer, these are content. Then navbar still come over here, footer still come over here. So at least we now want to now start designing this. Okay, so to do that, I come over here and start with the first one, which is header. I'll write my header, open my code browser, bring it down. It's very simple. Okay, it's very simple. Then I'll do my grid template area. Okay, repeat that, grid template area, or just grid area, and I'll put that same header. Okay, please, the spelling should be correct. If my spelling is wrong, it's not going to fly, so I'll still have to come back and check the spelling, but everything has to be correct. Okay, so do the next one after header, which is the next one now is nav, right? So which is our nav bar. So click on nav, open your code browser. Remember, what matters is the name you use here, the name you use at the body. Okay, when you do your grid template area, that's what matters, not the name that are on the other side. So after that, the next one is nav. I use nav, so I'll use grid area or grid. Oh, there's a mistake. Grid area, then nav. And I go to the next one. So that's why I pick them one after the other. Okay, which is the main. So I have my main. Open your code browser. What do I call it there? Content. So grid area or grid area content. Okay, content. I go to the next one after content, which is I have sidebar. Okay, so I have my aside. I I told you this doesn't matter, any name can go so long as the name you put there is the name you are going to use. Okay, what matter majorly is the name you put when you are using header. That's what matters. Okay, so open your code browser, then grid area, or sidebar. Is that what I use? Of course, that's what I use. Sidebar. So I think we are approaching the last one, right? Which is our footer. So you write footer, open your code browser, grid area, footer, Ctrl S for save. So it's taking shape, right? So you now let me explain why I put that header. So you understand now, because now I can do some explanation. Let me reduce this. Okay, then let me bring this one out a little bit bigger. So means that when I put header here, I put header 1, 2, 3 as header. So that is a check at the utmost, everything there is header. There's nothing there again apart from header. Okay, and like I told you, this header stands for something, right? Your home page, your menu page, your account page, and the rest of them. So I've just used header for you to understand. Okay, then you have your nav bar. Okay, and when I put nav bar, remember nav bar has to cut across up to footer level. Okay, so but if I want to remove this, so let's say only footer will take over this place, I will just remove that nav, this last nav, and then put footer. But that's not the way I want to create it, but you can also create that way if you want to. Okay, why? If you remember, our main, which is the content, and the sidebar and the nav bar, they are in the same place. So you see that they are also taking the same place. Why footer take over the two? Remember where we did what's it called, when we are doing 1:3 and stuff like that in grid. Okay, I think you've not forgotten that. So you can actually expand this. Instead of taking two columns, you just, instead of having different columns, you take the two over. Okay, why the header take the 3 columns over. Okay, so this that is why you have to put it that way. Okay, that is why you have to put it that way. Don't forget this. So now that we've done this, the next one is, let's now resize it. Let's size it up so that the size will be normal and everything will be okay. Remember, we are trying to create that holy grail layout that we did before now. So to do that, I can now come over here and then add my grid template columns and my grid template rows, depending on what I want to achieve. So of course you know that, so I won't explain that again. So I go to grid template columns first before I talk of rows. Grid template columns, and I want to use 1FR. Okay, I will start with, since our main the main, which is the content, that is the main, right? So let me make that bigger. It should be bigger than the sidebar and the nav bar. So let's do the first one, should be 1FR. Then the other one should be, let's make it 4FR. Yes, 4FR. And the last one, the column, still let's see this, that same 1FR. Okay, so Ctrl S for save. You see it is now expanding, right? So let's now also do the same for row. Let's go for rows and see what we can do. Grid template rows, and for grid template rows I'll use percentages. Okay, I'll make one 80%, the other one 70%, or maybe let's make it 70%, 60%. Okay, so the first one is our header. I'll make that 60%. Remember your row, 1, 2, 3 is your row. Okay, column is also 3, so don't forget what we are doing. Always have that back of your mind, your row and your columns. So for the rows, I'll start with 60%, 60 pesos, sorry, 60 pesos. Let's not use percentages. 60 pesos. Then I'll still add for this. Let me make it 1FR. Okay, so I mean that whatever remains should be taken over by the main. Okay, 1FR, and the other one, let's make it. Oh, let's make the other one 70-60. Okay, so this should be 60 pesos. Why? The beginning one, I'll make it 70 pesos. Okay, there is no two. It's not that it's compulsory. Okay, you can put any number you want, so don't think that this is just no. But press for save. Now let's extend it. Yeah, do you see it? So this is the holy grail layout, right? You have your header, you have your navbar, you have your main, you have your sidebar, then you have your footer. Okay, so this is exactly how you can actually create holy grail layout, and everything will work out very well. Remember, we are dealing with the Flexbox. It took us a whole lot of time, but we didn't waste time at all. And what about those who are actually working before now, who were doing before Grid came? This is actually a pain in the neck, you know, for you to create something like this. But now you've created complete website skeleton, and now all you need to do is also start adding things. There you go to the main, note all your items, all your videos, go to your sidebar, maybe your Instagram account and the rest of them. Then you come over to your navigation bar, put a navigation menu, then you go to your footer. You know, it makes your work very easy. Okay, so thank you for coming around with Steven, and this end our Grid tutorial. So we're going to take some few tutorial on CSS and wrap it up, and then move on to programming language JavaScript. I can't wait to see you in that class. I know you can't wait to see me too. We're going to be practical as possible. Okay, so see you there, and don't forget to like, comment, ask us questions in the comment section. We're going to answer you right away, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Subscribe to our channel, please. Okay, you know we are doing these things for free, so your subscription goes a long way. Okay, so thank you, and see you in the next class.